What if I told you that the reason you're still struggling with money is not because you're lazy, not because you're not smart enough, not because you don't work hard enough, but because the system trained you to think about money in the wrong way? And today, I'm going to reveal 5 rules so powerful that once you understand them, you'll never look at your bank account, your investments, or your future the same way again. Stay with me, because your financial life is about to flip upside down. Money. It controls almost every decision we make, from the food we eat to the house we live in, the career we choose, and even the relationships we hold on to out of fear of financial instability. But here's the cruel irony. No one ever really taught us how to use it. We spent years in school memorizing rivers, wars, equations, but how many hours did anyone spend teaching you about compound interest, about debt traps, about inflation silently eating your savings? Almost none. And that's why most people spend their entire lives stuck in the rat race, working harder, earning more, spending more, and yet never breaking free. And this is where the 5 rules come in. These rules are not secrets hidden in textbooks. They are not formulas reserved for Wall Street elites. They are truths about money that have been in front of you all along. But because you were never trained to see them, you kept stepping into the same traps over and over again. And today, I want to break that pattern. Rule number 1. Money always comes with a price. Think about it. You walk into a store, you want a beautiful watch. You can either pay for it or try to steal it. Of course, you choose to pay for it, because deep down you know that every reward comes with a cost. But here's the thing. Investing works exactly the same way. You want high returns? You must pay the price of volatility. Stocks don't move in straight lines. Crypto doesn't rise forever. Real estate doesn't only go up. Everything valuable comes with waves of chaos. And the people who survive, the ones who actually build wealth, are not the ones who avoid the storms, but the ones who are patient enough to keep sailing through them. Volatility is not the enemy. It's the ticket to the show. And if you're not willing to pay it, you'll never sit in the wealth section. Rule number 2. Enough is enough. Here's a truth nobody likes to admit. Comparison is killing your financial future. You feel rich until you find out your coworker earns a little more. You love your car until your neighbor buys a newer one. You're proud of your house until you see someone's mansion on Instagram. And suddenly, what was once enough turns into not enough. That's the endless game of capitalism, not just to create wealth, but to create envy. And envy is the most expensive habit on earth. Because when enough is never enough, you'll always spend more than you should, borrow more than you can handle, and chase luxuries that never make you happy. The moment you realize that your true power is not in how much you earn, but in how little you actually need, that's the moment freedom begins. Rule number 3. Nobody is crazy. At least not with money. That person you laugh at because they keep their cash under the mattress. That family member who spends on lottery tickets. That friend who refuses to invest in stocks. To you, it looks insane. But here's the truth. People don't make financial decisions based on spreadsheets. They make them based on experiences, fears, traumas, and hopes. For someone who grew up with nothing, a lottery ticket is not stupidity. It's hope. For someone who lost money in a crash, keeping it in cash is not madness. It's safety. Everyone plays money differently because everyone's life is different. The lesson? Don't blindly copy anyone's strategy. Don't mimic the billionaire's portfolio if your goal is survival. Don't shame yourself for not being where others are. Money is not about what makes sense universally. It's about what makes sense to you. Rule number 4. Stop trying to predict the future. Think about it. Did anyone predict the Great Depression, World War II, the financial crisis, or even the pandemic? No. And yet those events shaped generations of wealth and poverty. The truth is that nobody knows what's coming next. Economists, traders, gurus, they all make guesses, but reality always surprises us. And here's the danger. If you try to time the market, if you try to outsmart every crash and every boom, you'll lose more money than you make. Wealth is not built by timing. It's built by time. Time in the market beats timing the market every single day of the week. And the ones who come out richer after every disaster are not the prophets. They're the survivors. Rule number 5. Beware of pessimism. Why? Because pessimism sounds intelligent, while optimism sounds naive. When someone says, the market is going to crash, they sound smart. When someone says, things will get better, they sound foolish. But history shows us something very different. Progress, in the long run, always wins. Yes, crashes happen. Yes, recessions come. Yes, wars and pandemics shake the world. But look at the charts of human progress. Over decades, the line always goes up. Optimism doesn't mean blind faith. It means disciplined patience. It means believing in the power of long-term growth while preparing for short-term storms. And that mindset alone is what separates those who stay poor from those who quietly become free. Now, let's step back for a moment. Imagine Ronald, a janitor who lived an ordinary life, earning an ordinary salary. No fancy cars, no luxury vacations, no stock-picking genius. And yet, when he died in 2014, he had over $8 million in savings. How? He lived below his means. He invested consistently. He let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. That's the secret nobody tells you. It's not about intelligence. It's about behavior. The way you act with your money matters more than the degrees on your wall or the title on your business card. And that's why these 5 rules matter so much. Because they're not just about numbers. They're about psychology, behavior, patience, and discipline. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room to be wealthy. You just need to stop playing the game like everyone else. So ask yourself right now, are you willing to pay the price of volatility? Can you accept that enough is enough? Can you stop comparing yourself to others and instead define your own freedom? Can you stop predicting the unpredictable and instead prepare for it? Can you ignore the noise of pessimism and trust the quiet power of optimism? If your answer is yes, then congratulations. You're already ahead of 90% of people. Because wealth is not built in a day. It's built in the small decisions you make every single day. And the moment you apply these rules, your financial story changes forever. Now let's get brutally honest. Because the truth about money isn't just about numbers. It's about control. Who controls your time? Who controls your choices? Who controls your future? The moment you trade your hours for a paycheck, you are selling pieces of your life. And here's the catch. If you don't learn the rules, someone else writes them for you. Banks, corporations, governments, they profit when you don't know what's really happening. They profit when you spend blindly, when you live paycheck to paycheck, when you chase the illusion of wealth instead of building the reality of it. Think about this. Why do credit cards exist? They're marketed as tools of convenience. They give you points, miles, rewards. But behind the shiny surface, they are shackles. Every swipe is a silent contract. You borrow from your future to satisfy a desire today. And the interest? That's not just numbers on a statement. It's hours of your life you haven't lived yet. Already sold, already gone. That's what debt really is. Slavery wearing a designer suit. Now let's zoom in on the idea of volatility as the price tag of wealth. Imagine walking into a luxury store and pointing at a $10,000 watch. The salesperson says, "Yes, sir, but the price is not money. It's 3 years of emotional turbulence. Are you willing to pay?" Most people walk away. They want the watch, they want the wealth, but they refuse to endure the cost. And that's why they stay broke. Because in money, just like in life, you don't get the prize without the pain. Let's go deeper into Rule 2. Enough is enough. Picture this. You're driving a car you love. It runs perfectly. It takes you everywhere you need to go. You feel good. But then your friend pulls up in a brand new Tesla. Suddenly, your car feels outdated. Nothing changed, except your comparison. And that comparison is what bankrupts entire generations. People chase more until they end up with nothing left. Because more is a black hole. It never fills, it never ends. And if you don't learn to say enough, you'll spend your entire life running a race with no finish line. Now let's talk about Rule 3. Nobody is crazy. Every decision with money comes from a story. Maybe your parents lost their house in a recession. Maybe your grandparents hoarded cash under the bed. Maybe you saw someone get rich quick with crypto. Every single one of those stories shapes how you behave today. And if you don't understand your own story, you'll never understand your own choices. You'll think you're logical, but really, you're emotional. And markets don't care about your emotions. That's why the biggest skill in money is not intelligence. It's self-awareness. Rule 4. Stop predicting. The greatest investors in history, Buffett, Munger, Bogle, They didn't get rich by predicting the next crash or the next boom. They got rich by admitting they couldn't. They didn't try to outsmart the storm. They built ships strong enough to survive it. That's what you must do. Forget timing. Forget predictions. Build systems. Build habits. Build structures that don't care if the market goes up or down today, because they're designed to win over decades, not days. And then comes Rule 5. Beware of pessimism. Why does pessimism sound so seductive? Because fear is primal. Your brain pays 10 times more attention to danger than to opportunity. That's why negative news sells. That's why financial headlines scream about crashes, recessions, crises. But here's what they don't scream about. The fact that over the last century, despite wars, pandemics, depressions, markets have gone up more than 20,000%. That's optimism in action. Not blind hope, just math. And yet, most people miss it because they're too busy listening to the doomsayers who sound smart, but keep you stuck. Now let's bring this all together with a story. Imagine Ronald, the janitor we mentioned earlier. Ordinary man, ordinary paycheck, but extraordinary patience. While everyone else spent their raises on cars, on vacations, on showing off, Ronald quietly saved, quietly invested, quietly let time do its work. And when he died, he left behind $8 million. Not because he was a genius, not because he won the lottery, but because he understood something most people never will. Money doesn't care how smart you are. It only cares how consistent you are. So here's the brutal question for you. Are you going to keep playing the systems game, chasing the next shiny purchase, comparing yourself to people who don't even care about you? Or are you going to step out of the rat race and start living on your own terms? Because the truth is this: wealth is not built by miracles. It's built by rules. Simple rules. Rules that anyone can follow, but rules that most people ignore. If you want to change your future, start with these 5 rules. Pay the price. Accept enough. Respect your story. Stop predicting. Ignore the pessimists. Do this, and you won't just have more money. You'll have more freedom, more peace, more control. And maybe, just maybe, one day people will look at your life the way we look at Ronald's and say, how did they do it? And the answer will be simple. You played the game differently.